Only kindness matters. The Filipino baby boomer, those born between 1946 and 1964, have too much to reckon when two hostile typhoons, Ondoy and Pepeng, visited the country and left behind great havoc and destruction. The Filipino baby boomer played a role in the exacerbation of the worst calamity ever endured by the Filipinos in recent history. Everyone felt the pangs of this tragedy, mirrored on these kids' faces. Kids whose peaceful innocence kept secured by their worried mothers seeking refuge amid chaos. Kids doing kids' thing, playing, eating, sleeping, and learning in the most adverse situation. Kids whose curiosity only get more why. Kid whose eyes minder and wonder and loaded with questions. Kids whose existence is shortened. Had these scenes sunk in? Of course it did. Empathy is universal. But not all baby boomer probably captured their guilt on these kids' eyes. Flood had been a constant phenomenon in the Philippines. This fact is undisputed. Yet the baby boomer bureaucrats, the baby boomer politicians, the layman baby boomer, the baby boomer squatters, they seem quietly conspiring, ignoring this flood as constant phenomenon. When the truth is, they are in a position to mitigate the impact of this act of nature. Here's the nature retribution to baby boomers. Rooftops turn into family room. Car learns to swim and fails. People with salvage belonging rush for higher ground. Repeats of Exodus times and the days of Noah. Then the anguish, the bitterness, the mourning. The Philippines baby boomer generation, millions of them scatters in every sectors of Philippine societies. They are offspring of the World War II generation whose lives were marred by the atrocities of war, who live in squalor and most of them miserable. In order to get better than their predecessor, these baby boomers are hellish bent on quest of good life and leisure. This baby boom generation becomes busy and greedy, accumulating wealth. And as they develop this acute individualistic gluttony, they have forgotten things outside of themselves. Their next generation, the earth they live in. The baby boomer bureaucrats could remain faithful, vigilant, forceful, doing their duties. Their determination could have been strong not to be swayed by pecuniary gain or political consideration to compromise their sworn obligation. Those in the forestry, for example, guarding the forest, or those bureaucrats in charge of the zoning regulation, or those bureaucrats in charge of guarding government lands to prevent squatters from encroaching in. The baby boomer politician by just be conscientious to allot funds to procure state-of-the-art weather forecasting tools and equipment. The layman baby boomer for just being conscious of the way they dispose their garbage, for example, or anything that might hurt the environment. The baby boomer squatters not to build their shanties along river banks or embankments that clogs waterways. It's not too late for the Philippines baby boomer to amend their ways. They just have a second look on their grandchildren's eyes. They just have to capture their guilt from those eyes. In the end, only kindness mattered.